What's up, y'all? It's Daniel, your Shoemmelier. Fans of the channels will know that I live in Texas, in Austin, Texas, which is, well, deep in the heart of Central Texas. And if you've been keeping track of the news, you know that we could not handle this last week because we were hit by not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5 separate winter storm events that all happened in a series of 6 days. Now, I've spent 2.5 years in Michigan. I know what cold is like. I know what snow is like. I know what driving on ice and snow and all that stuff is like. And we had similar conditions down here, but we probably own a salt truck. We don't really have the kind of heating that we have up north. It's pretty much electrical heating. It uses gas to heat up your water, but our electric bills are high in the summer because the electricity cools our homes. Just like when I was in Michigan, the heating bill was huge in the fall and winter because the heat heated our homes. In fact, Monday morning at 2:30 a.m., my power went out, but I still had water and I still had gas, but that really didn't do a whole lot for me because I have an electric stove in this house. So from Monday on, I was staying with friends who had power and gas and water, though we had to boil our water. The power and everything was turning on Thursday morning. We returned back home Friday morning and we had power, we had heat, we had internet, and a pipe burst in the garage. So that was great. But luckily, the damage was contained to the garage. The only thing that got wet were like tools and boxes and toys. So not a loss. None of my shoes, none of the shoe boxes got wet. It could have been significantly worse. We are very lucky. We are very blessed. And I'm sure you're wondering, what does this have to do with shoes? Well, I own lots of shoes here that I really don't use for their intended purposes. I don't use basketball shoes to play basketball, and I don't use running shoes to run. I don't go hiking. We really don't have a lot of snow. So when it did snow, when we did have ice, I thought, maybe I will try to turn this frown upside down, make some lemons out of lemonade, and look at that silver lining in the clouds and try out 3 pairs of shoes and see how they work, or if they even work, in snow, ice, wintry conditions. So today we are going to compare 3 different Adidas pairs of shoes and see just how they fared in the ice and snow. We're going to compare the Adidas Ultra Boost All-Terrain Reigning Champ, the Adidas and Kasina Consortium Terrex Free Hiker, and the Adidas and Kith Response Trail. First, let's talk about the Reigning Champ Ultra Boost Mid. The Reigning Champ and Adidas Ultra Boost All-Terrain is a collaboration that first hit retailers in March of 2018. This more rugged take on the massively popular Ultra Boost silhouette adds details like a higher ankle collar, TPU 3 stripes underlays, and reinforced eyelets. This colorway sports a prime knit upper that fades from light to dark gray, and the sneaker has a full-length boost midsole and a bulky outsole that is supposed to be ready for any terrain. As we have said, this shoe is a mid, which means it goes a little bit higher. It is all pretty much prime knit on the top, and it has that Ultra Boost midsole and supposedly this chunky kind of all-terrain friendly outsole. But it's pretty much your standard Continental rubber outsole, just with a slightly different pattern than you would find on the normal Ultra Boost shoe. And if you have worn Ultra Boost Prime Knit in any condition other than sun, then you know Prime Knit gets wet. It's not waterproof. It doesn't keep anything out. And what is snow and ice made out of? It's water. So walking through the snow, walking through the ice, my socks instantly got soaked. There was very little to no protection between the elements and my feet. So the Prime Knit got wet, my socks got wet, my feet got wet, and they got cold. And I hate cold feet. Add to that this outsole provided little to no traction, and not only was my feet sinking in snow getting wet, but whenever I stepped on ice, these pretty much slipped just as easily as I was wearing a slide with little to no lug-like traction on the bottom. So taking all of that into account, raking these 3 silhouettes, this is the worst one by far. This is all look, this is all fashion, this is no substance, keeping with the whole Texas theme. This was all hat and no cattle. If you want to wear a shoe that kind of looks good and maybe keeps your feet a little bit warm in optimal sunny conditions, a mid ATR shoe will work for that. Doesn't need to be the Reigning Champ. It could be any of the other colorways that Adidas has released in the past. But if you want your feet to remain warm, if you want dry socks, and you want any kind of grip on slippery ice, maybe even rain, certainly snow, this is not the shoe for you. Don't wear it. please don't wear it unless your socks are somehow waterproof and you've nailed nails into the bottom or put some thumbtacks on there to give you better traction. This silhouette is not good for all terrain. It's just a normal shoe that added a couple inches at the top and they go, hey, let's try to say this is an ATR outsole. It's not. Don't wear this in anything other than perfect weather. Next up is the Adidas and Kasina Terrex Free Hiker. Adidas and Kasina, the Korean fashion store, teamed up to give a twist to the outdoor silhouette, the Terrex Free Hiker. These sneakers have a prime knit upper with solid overlays to ensure durability and firmness, and they feature an innovative laces system that runs all the way through the foot to ensure a more precise fit. The lower part features the revolutionary Boost midsole and the torsion stability system, and of course, the Continental rubber outsole, which is known for its high resistance. And much like the reigning champ all-terrain Ultra Boost, this outsole has a little bit more of a rugged lug-like pattern. Right off the bat, this shoe offered way more protection for my feet, for my socks, for my toesy woesies than the reigning champ silhouette. Yes, this is all white, and yes, it is similar, but it is a little thicker on the inside of the shoe, which goes around your heel. It does have a little bit more of that TPU and EVA plastic rubber look on the ends near the toe box as well as the heels. There basically was a little bit more protection on the outside of the shoe than just your standard prime knit upper. You can see the 3 stripes are in that TPU tape, and it also seems to have a thicker prime knit kind of feel and pattern to it. Even though at the top where it goes around your ankle, it's very thin and stretchy, but honestly, who's going to purposely step in snow that deep? If you do, well, it's going to get there anyway. You're not wearing rubber duck boots, so you kind of get what you asked for. However, you still have that standard regular old Ultra Boost midsole, which is great and it's comfortable. And like I said, you do have a little bit more traction with the lugs on the bottom. But even though this fared much better than the reigning champ Ultra Boost mid ATR, it's not that much better as my feet still got cold, still got wet. I know that neither of these silhouettes contain Gore-Tex. They don't advertise them as being waterproof, water resistant, etc. But they say that these silhouettes are good for extra terrain. They are implying with the hiker name that you should be able to hike in this. Now, does that mean you're better off hiking on rock and dirt, dry conditions? Maybe, I don't know. But when I see an all white shoe, I think of Hoth, I think of stormtroopers, I think of snow. So why wouldn't we expect to be able to wear this shoe in the snow and have good protection for our feet and good traction? And yes, I do realize ice is slippery. It's hard to step on ice. You're gonna slip on ice. That's why ice is called ice, I think. That's why we have black ice. That's why cars wreck all the time. You don't get good footing on ice. However, while this had a much better grip to my feet than the Ultra Boost Mid ATR, it still left a lot to be desired in terms of being able to step on it, stepping on snow. I did feel like I was slipping and sliding less in this shoe, but I did still slip and slide wearing this silhouette. Having said all of that, this would be the second best shoe for all terrain, snow, ice, rain, etc. It's definitely a huge step above the Ultra Boost Mid ATR. And yes, I realize you probably shouldn't wear sneakers and expect to be dry and have lots of grip on ice and snow. But again, if you're going to advertise a shoe as being an all-terrain type shoe, well, it kind of should be, right? And the last shoe we're going to talk about today is the Adidas and Kith Response Trail. Bringing a unique style to the rugged outdoors, Adidas teamed up with streetwear influencer Ronnie Feig for the Kith Response Trail sneaker. It's part of a 3-shoe pack, and it released in March 2018 and is constructed of soft nubuck overlays with a neoprene booty and mesh underlays. This pastel colored shoe is equipped with responsive boost injected midsole and a Continental lug outsole for enhanced grip and cushioning. Now, in case you haven't figured it out by now, this was the best shoe by far in comparison of these 3 shoes for snow and ice and wet conditions. Starting with the bottom of the shoe, this had a significantly better grip and grab on the ice and snow. It has a chunkier lug bottom that I think allows you to get better grip in the snow and as much grip as one can get in ice, or on ice rather. And it may be hard to see, but there are those little bitty, almost like stalactites or stalagmites, which hangs from the roof. But you can see the little bitty things hanging down from the lugs on the bottom of the shoe. I don't know if that provided better grip, but maybe that's what helped provide better grip in addition to the deeper crevices here on the lugs in the outsole. I just know that this had a much better grip and gave me better traction on the ice and snow than the previous two silhouettes. Now, while this isn't as squishy and bouncy, however, as the previous two, it still has boost in the midsole. It's just not an ultra boost midsole like the other two silhouettes. And this had a more weather appropriate upper. Yes, it has neoprene, and yes, it has kind of suede, and yes, it has mesh. I found that if the reigning champ Ultra Boost Mid ATR was a 95 on a 1 to 100 scale of getting my feet wet, and the Kasina and Terrex Free Hiker were a 76, this was like a 34. Yes, my toes were just a little bit wet because I think as the suede got wet and as the mesh started to get wet, you were going to get a little bit of moisture in your feet. But I was standing in snow for hours, shoveling ice, shoveling snow, putting snow into my bathtub so that I can have water for my toilets. And I took my shoes off and my feet were, well, they were pretty dry. Again, they were not completely dry, but way more dry. And I felt way better and warmer taking these shoes off than I certainly did taking off the Terrex and the Ultra Boost Mid ATR. I don't know if this shoe was more appropriately designed for snow and ice and sleet and etc., but it certainly feels like it, and it certainly provided the result that I was hoping. In fact, once I put this shoe on day 3, I didn't take it off. Well, I took it off to sleep, but this was the shoe I wore to go outside. I wore the reigning champ one day, I wore the Kasina one day, and then the last 4 days, I wore this shoe because it gave me good grip. It made my feet feel warmer than the other ones, and I didn't have to worry about my feet getting wet while wearing this silhouette. But boy, am I glad I have this shoe. I'm definitely going to keep this shoe and wear this shoe whenever I go to the Midwest, whenever I go somewhere that has snow. And if it happens again here in Texas, I know the silhouette that I'm going to go to wear to keep my feet as warm as I can, as dry as I can, and to provide as much grip as possible on snow, ice, sleet, sludge, wintry mix. So there we go, my comparison, my winter storm wear test of the Adidas Ultra Boost ATR reigning champ, the Ultra Boost and Kasina Terrex Free Hiker, and the Adidas and Ronified Kith Trail Response. They were all worn, they were all battle tested, they all got wet, they all got my feet wet, some more than others. And I'm curious if you have any of these silhouettes or other silhouettes that you think function really, really well in these type of wintry conditions. Let us know in the comment section down below, especially for those that deal with this more than once every 10 years. And a real quick shout out to all of you out there, not just in Texas, that dealt with this whole week of crazy weather. Maybe you lost power, maybe you lost gas, maybe you lost internet, maybe you lost food, all those kinds of things. It was a harrowing week. Hopefully you were able to pull through. Hopefully you had friends and family that are looking out for you, or maybe you were lucky enough to retain all your utilities and were able to help out friends and family, not just sneaker people, but just good people. Sometimes we've got to look to each other because sometimes you might just have a senator who thinks it's way better to go to Cancun than to actually do something when the guy you beat in the Senate race did more, as did a representative in New York. But that's my political statement for the day. It's been a long week. So to all of you out there, wherever you are, thanks for watching. Stay tuned and just chill. Till the next episode.